Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since 96. Thank you for joining me for another video on opposition analysis. Today we are looking at our next opponents, who happen to be Crystal Palace, and in this video I'm going to be talking about all of their strengths, their weaknesses, what I fear they will do in the upcoming game, what we need to look out for, and how we can stop them in their tracks from spoiling a perfect evening at the Emirates. Before we start the video, if I can all ask you to just like the video for me, that would be really good. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification so you can be notified every time I release a video, which happens to be every single day. Thank you again for all the continued support. It means the world to me. And yeah, you know, I'm really excited every time I get to make a video for you guys. Every time, well, I'll be honest with you, the main reason I make videos is for myself. Being a crazy lunatic fan that I am, I like nothing more than to talk about Arsenal all day long. And seeing as I don't have any friends to talk about Arsenal with because we're in this situation, this is the perfect opportunity to just be weird on camera. So, excuse me. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Like I said, we're analysing Crystal Palace today, and we're going to be looking at some of the threats that they can cause and some of the way that we can exploit them. We should start by mentioning that they've recently been knocked out of the FA Cup against Wolves, in which they did play a pretty decent game. They gave Wolves a tough game. They put a lot of energy in it. The starting lineup was a little bit different to what they would start usually in the Premier League, but I have to say I was impressed with what I saw. I think Hodgson is going to be will use that game to, you know, make some more changes, because one thing I've realized about Crystal Palace is that they make a lot of changes. They don't have a fixed starting 11. Every week it is chopped and changed. That's because they have a very big squad, and they have a very big squad of players who should be playing week in, week out first team football. So it's good to see that they, well, not for us, but as a club, it's good that they have the number of options. But I often find that the more chopping and changing that you do, the sort of more disorganized it makes you as a, you know, starting 11. And it also it's a bit confusing as well, especially when you're playing players in so many different positions. I should also mention that going into this game, they would have only won one game in their last 6 Premier League games, and that happens to be against Sheffield United. So they beat Sheffield United 2-0. Before that, they won against West Brom. I think it was 5-1, the victory, where West Brom got a red card. It's been a little bit of a weird season. I don't know. They started off well. Crystal Palace definitely started off well. Beating United in their second game, and I think it's just gone a little bit downhill from there. They've really struggled to pick up momentum, and they look really shaky at the minute. The thing with Palace is they have a contrast of two different playing styles. They're very good attacking on the ball, and they're very poor off the ball when they need to transition into defending. They can't seem to handle a lot of pressure, and they have a handful of players that they rely on. In fact, as a squad of players, individually, they are very talented, and individually you can see sparks of real, you know, skill and ability on the ball, but they just can't. I just don't understand why they can't gel together and play as a unit. It very much seems to be everyone playing for themselves, and I'll talk a little bit more as we go on the video. Not really sure how to break down this analysis, whether I should be looking at games or whether I should be looking at weaknesses. I think we'll start off with their starting 11. Like I said, Roy Hodgson has been changing a lot every single week. He hasn't been there hasn't been a set format starting 11. Where I believe they're at their strongest is wherever Zaha and Eze will play. I've noticed that Zaha and Eze are usually the most efficient when they're playing together on the left-hand side. They're the most ruthless. They're the best players at the minute at Palace, and when they play off each other, when they're playing on that left wing, they can cause a lot of havoc. So they will play in a 4-4-2 formation because they have been throughout the whole season, and that's for us. I think that is it's good in a way because a 4-4-2 formation is quite flat in the sense that it's very one-dimensional, easy to defend against if you're organized. But like I said, they're very, very good going forward, and that will be something that we need to be wary of. So they will be playing in a 4-4-2 with a back four. I imagine they will be playing with Kouyaté at the back. I don't know whether Sacco or Cahill will start. One of them will start. Klein on the right, and on the left I imagine Van Aanholt will play. That's their back four. I think they will start with. In the middle, McCarthy, who's been pretty impressive this season, he'll probably play in the centre mid alongside Milivojevic, yes. Schlupp on the right and Eze on the left, and up front they'll probably go for Benteke and Zaha. I'm really surprised that Hodgson hasn't tried a 4-3-3 formation with Zaha on the left, Benteke through the middle, and Schlupp on the right, or even Eze on the right, or Zaha on the right and Eze on the left, or even Eze through the middle as a number 10. The kid seems to know what to do with the ball whenever he's got it. Wherever he is on the pitch, he always seems to be a danger. And when we're talking about strengths, we'll move on to that next. When we're talking about strengths and weaknesses, where is their strongest point in their starting 11? It has to be with Eze and with Zaha. Those two are the main threats. Those two are the most exciting players right now in the Premier League. Despite not getting the results, they are definitely pulling out the performances and definitely showing why they, need to be given either a massive pay rise or a different club. And that it doesn't just stop with them. There are some other players in and around the pitch as well that can cause real problems. Milivojevic has had a pretty good season so far. Solid centre midfield. McCarthy, I feel, is really quite underrated as a central midfielder. He is great on the ball, really active, loves going forward, loves causing trouble for the defence, the opposition defence. Benteke is one of those players who is a little bit unreliable. You don't really know what you're going to expect from him. Very unpredictable. One game he can get a couple goals and then he'll go for a drought for three or four games. Having said that, he's definitely an aerial threat. He's tall, he's powerful, he has the potential to take shots from outside of the box as well. So he is a threat and he is someone that needs to be closed down. The one criticism I'll give Benteke is that he's lacking of movement off the ball. He's a little bit of a immobile striker in that he's a poacher. He's like a target man. He waits for the ball to be fed to him. So if you can isolate and alienate Benteke, you've pretty much broken down 25% of their attacking force. Schlupp has had a pretty good season as well, getting goals off the wing, running in and just being able to have open shots because nobody seems to be marking him, and his movement off the ball is great. So that's probably why players are unable to mark him, because he's so good off the ball. And then you've got Van Aanholt and Klein as well, who bomb down the wings, really, really effective in supporting the attacking play. So there's lots to talk about, lots of good things that Crystal Palace are able to bring in their, pardon the pun, in their arsenal. Hopefully not against us. And their weaknesses. So I want to touch on a little bit more on their overall strengths as a as a unit, as a starting 11. So they're very, very effective on the wings. They're very effective in breaking down the opposition defense. Basically, they sort of force themselves to go down the wing, but that's sort of their main strength. So if Bellerin or if Tierney want to take the ball off them or want to stop them from progressing, the only thing they're going to be able to do is push them down as far down as possible down the wing, and that's sort of one of their strengths. So it's really dangerous to allow them to do that, because then you've got players like Zaha, who has the ability to cut in, put in a really good cross, or just get past his man. So Bellerin or whoever starts, I imagine it will be Bellerin and Tierney, they will need to be on their A game to stop this guy from playing, because if you allow Zaha to play, he's the type of player where you only need Zaha to play for them to get a goal or two. So yeah, they're very, very dangerous, very, very effective when they're building up on the wings, especially the left-hand side. That's if Zaha plays on that left-hand side with Eze, they will be a handful. They'll be able to cut in. They'll be able to put in low-driven crosses. And overall, I mean, so far this season, the most effective they've been is when balls are being crossed into the box, because you got to remember you've got players like Benteke as well who can be an aerial threat. But one thing that I can vouch for our defense is that they're really, really good in the air with Holding, with Mari, even Gabriel, really good in making sure that nothing sort of harms us whilst crosses are coming in. And yeah, I expect Zaha and Eze to play together on the left-hand side, especially the goal that Eze scored against Sheffield United, a beautiful, beautiful solo goal. We need to make sure that, you know, we're closing them down really, really early. Because if you do give them that time, they have that potential. They have the skill and the ability to create magical moments like that, especially taking long-range shots as well, which they have players for. I mentioned Benteke, Zaha, Eze, obviously, McCarthy, Milivojevic. You know, all of these guys have the potential. If you give them the time and space on the ball, they can punish you by taking those early shots, especially from outside of the box. And another thing I really like about them is their movement on the ball. Their build-up play it can be really, really quick. So when they are counter-attacking, and for some reason, I don't see Palace counter-attacking in this game. But if they are to sit back, sit off the ball, invite us to put the pressure forward, and then counter-attack, they have the pace, they have the sort of the transition in an attacking sense to just bomb forward and cause us real problems. And we know what Arsenal are like off the counter-attack, especially when it's against us. Really, really poor to transition into the defensive formation. And although that being their biggest strength, it is also their biggest weakness. So going forward, they're great, but when the pressure is against them, they're really, really poor. And it's like a parallel. It's a really interesting parallel, because you've got a really good attacking side, but they are equally as poor when they're defending, and that goes for all of their players. They are, I mean, what I noticed against games when they lost 7-0 to Liverpool, when they lost 3-0 to 10-men Aston Villa, is that they give too much time to their oppositions. They are very, very naive, very complacent, slow. They almost lack the urgency and the desire to win back the ball. So what I noticed when they were losing games against Liverpool and against Aston Villa is that they allowed the opposition to come at them without closing them down quickly, and everyone seemed to be going for the same ball. So on multiple occasions I saw Palace defenders, 2 of them going for the same ball, and it's like they haven't got the fundamentals quite there. It's not the basics of defending are not at the club right now. Really, really weird to see. And so this is going to be a really interesting game because I think both defenses need to be clued on. Arsenal need to take the game to them. We need to pile the pressure on. I don't see Palace sitting back against us. I do see them bringing on the full force. And when that happens, to play maybe in a counter-attacking style might suit us in this game because they're just so poor to transition when they've lost the ball. Really slow. I mean, just incredibly slow. And if it hadn't been for Zaha, Eze, Benteke, some of the attacking players they have, they could be in a relegation fight right now. And I really mean that. Having watched the performances, having seen some of the results that I've seen, I think in this game, Tierney and Emile Smith-Rowe are going to have they're going to have good opportunities, especially Tierney. He's going to be able to put crosses in without any problems because they allow that. Emile Smith-Rowe is going to have all the freedom in the middle because they're going to allow that. And yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that we struggled to do against Newcastle was to draw players out of the defensive line. And it seems like Palace just do that by themselves. You don't really need to do anything. You don't really need to work too hard to pull players apart. They just do that because it's, like I said, very, very sloppy defending. Too much open spaces, too many gaps left in the back. And yeah, I mean, it explains why they've been getting hammered by the likes of Villa, by Liverpool as well, why they've failed to take advantage against other teams like West Ham. I mean, West Ham should have won the game that they played them against. There was another game where they should have won. I forget. I know they got a point against Tottenham. Look, Palace are a very unpredictable side. You don't really know what you're going to get from them until they appear on the pitch. And I think in the first 5 minutes, we will know what type of Palace we're going to get. Am I afraid to... Am I nervous going into this game? I am apprehensive. I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I'm quite excited. I am quite excited because I know we've got a real opportunity here this will be our first sort of test this season so far. Coming at the back of those defeats, I wouldn't even count Chelsea as a sort of test because they practically allowed us to walk all over them. But after Chelsea, Brighton was a sort of a weird game where both sides were just too cautious. West Brom, we absolutely thumped them. Newcastle again was a sort of different side than we would play in the Premier League. But this will be the real test. Tomorrow and Southampton will be the test that sort of show how far we've come. And so I'm quite excited because I know there is a real chance here of us stamping our authority and sort of showing the Premier League, showing all the other clubs that, look, we're here. And equally, I know that they have the potential to cause an upset. And they're sort of like our bogey team. They, we can never, they always make it difficult for us, whether we're playing at Selhurst Park or whether we're playing at the Emirates. So yeah, it will be a very, very interesting game indeed. I'm going to leave it there. I think that's enough analysis. I'm not sure. I think it's been another sort of video where it's been a little bit all over the place. I'm trying to arrange like a format. I'm trying to organize myself a little bit so that it feels a little bit more structured. I guess it will come in good time. Once again, thank you very much for watching the video. If you have done all the way until the very end, if you haven't done so, please like the video. It would mean the world to me. Subscribe to the channel as well. And click that bell notification so that you can be notified every time I release a video. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I will be releasing a sort of preview looking ahead to the game and analysing a little bit more as to what sort of team lineup I think we'll start with, how we'll approach the game, and yeah, plenty more of that kind of stuff. Once again, thank you very much, guys, for all the continued support. Stay safe, stay home, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.